In 1967, you could walk into a Chevrolet dealership and order this car. It was on the official price list. It had a regular order code, and according to the window sticker, it made 430 horsepower, identical to a standard Corvette that cost $1,500 less. So why did every single one of these go straight to a race team? And why did Chevrolet's own salespeople have secret instructions to talk you out of buying it? By the end of this investigation, you'll know the real horsepower number Chevrolet buried in their own engineering files, the one race where this car terrified Ferrari and Porsche simultaneously, and why only 14 of the original 20 are believed to exist today. Here's the thing that breaks the logic of this entire car. The L88 cost an extra $1,500 over and above the Corvette's $4,240 base price, more than a third of the value of the car itself. And for that $1,500 premium, the official horsepower rating was identical to the standard big block. Same number. On paper, you were paying a 35% surcharge for nothing. But that's not even the strangest part. The L88 came with no power steering, no HVAC, no radio, no carburetor choke, no radiator fan shroud, and no defroster. Every comfort feature systematically stripped out. You paid more, got less, and received a car that was objectively worse to live with than the base model. Unless, of course, you weren't planning to live with it. Unless you were planning to race it. To understand why this car exists, you need to understand one man, Zora Arkus-Duntov, a Belgian-born engineer who joined Chevrolet in 1953 with a singular obsession, turning the Corvette from a styling exercise into a genuine racing machine. Duntov was a keen racer who instantly took advantage of the gray area provided by GM's factory-backed motorsports ban in 1957. Instead of officially supporting race teams, he switched focus to supporting drivers, pioneering the development of a number of Corvettes that took the word streetable as a vague suggestion. The L88 was Duntov's masterpiece, and it required a loophole to exist at all to make the car eligible for SCCAA production and FIA GT events. The L88 had to be a standard factory option, so GM quietly offered it to the public, not marketed, not advertised, just quietly listed in the order guide, available to anyone who knew to ask for it, which almost nobody did, by design. Let's talk about the number that makes this entire story possible. 430 horsepower. That was the official factory rating for the L88, the same as the standard 427 big block in the regular car. So why on earth were you paying so much for an engine that made no more power? Because the number was fiction. In real-world dynamometer verification, a bone-stock 1967 L88 competition engine pushes out between 530 and 560 true horsepower, utilizing an extreme 12.5 to 1 static compression ratio. A compression ratio so aggressive it required a mandatory dashboard warning placard, not a suggestion. A placard on the dashboard, warning you that if you put the wrong fuel in this engine, you would destroy it. This wasn't a marketing oversight or a conservative estimate. It was a deliberate move by Chevrolet to keep the L88 under the radar. During the late 1960s, insurance companies were cracking down on high-performance vehicles, and government regulators were beginning to scrutinize automakers for producing cars deemed too powerful for public roads. The gap between the sticker and reality wasn't 10 horsepower, it wasn't 30. The L88 generated anywhere in the region of 540 to 580 horsepower depending on which dyno you put it on. That's a 130 horsepower lie, hiding in plain sight on a showroom order form. The horsepower wasn't even the most audacious part of Chevrolet's deception. That distinction belongs to the fuel requirement. The L88's mandatory dashboard warning placard demanded a minimum of 100 3-octane competition fuel, 103 octane, in 1967, at a time when premium pump fuel topped out at around 100 octane on a good day, and most stations didn't carry anything above 98. Chevrolet built an engine that required fuel that, for most practical purposes, did not exist at retail in the United States. The L88 featured a 12.5 to 1 compression ratio, mandating 103 octane rated fuel. Run it on regular pump fuel and the detonation alone would begin destroying the engine within minutes. This wasn't a quirk or an oversight, it was a calculated engineering decision to make the car physically incompatible with everyday use. Think about what that means for a moment. Chevrolet sold you a car through a regular dealership with a regular warranty. and then built that car so it couldn't be safely driven to a regular gas station. The L88 didn't just discourage street buyers, it was engineered to punish them. Now, if you want to understand what the L88 was actually capable of when it reached the track it was built for, there is one moment that tells the whole story. Peyton Kramer and Paul Dombrowski, owners of Dana Chevrolet in Los Angeles, decided to campaign a privateer racing team in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1967. Not a factory team, not an official GM effort, a dealership. Two men from a Chevrolet dealership in Southern California entered one of those 20 L88 Corvettes in the most prestigious endurance race on the planet. In Le Mans qualifying, the L88 delivered a record-setting performance, hitting a remarkable 171.5 miles per hour, which was 10 seconds faster than the previous GT record. Ferrari was there, Porsche was there, the established European racing establishment was there, and a Corvette from a dealership in Los Angeles had just shattered the GT qualifying record at Le Mans. During the race, Bob Bondurant pulled away with a substantial lead over the GT competitors just a couple of hours into the 24-hour spectacle. However, just shy of the 12-hour mark, the engine threw a rod through the side of the block, bringing the Dana Chevrolet team's quest for victory to a heartbreaking end. The car didn't finish, but in 12 hours it had proven something that Chevrolet officially denied. The L88 was a legitimate world-class racing engine, wearing a window sticker that claimed otherwise. Here is where the numbers become genuinely staggering. Chevrolet built roughly 20 L88s in 1967, 80 in 1968, and 116 in 1969. 216 total across all 3 years. 216 cars in 3 model years for the entire country. But 1967 is where the story gets critical. With only 20 built and just 14 believed to exist today, these big block C2s are widely considered the holy grail of Corvette history. 6 of the original 20 are gone, some crashed, some stripped for parts, some simply lost to time and poor record keeping. Every remaining 1967 L88 has a known ownership history, a documented race record, a paper trail that enthusiasts and historians have spent decades reconstructing. The L88 proved its dominance right out of the gate, being sold mostly to race teams who knew exactly how special the engine was. Don Yanko secured the first L88 equipped Corvette off the line for his Sunray DX team, which debuted the car to an amazing 10th overall, first in class at the 1967 12 Hours of Sebring. A car Chevrolet actively tried to discourage people from buying, went directly to the people who needed it most, and immediately started winning races. The final chapter of this story is the one Chevrolet could never have predicted when they were trying to hide this car in plain sight. The most sought-after L88s, the 1967 models, fetch as much as $3.85 million at auction. Based on the C2 generation, these are the most limited, with only 20 built for the year, many of which appear in unique one-of-one specifications. Even the more common C3 L88s, of which 196 were built, fetch high prices, with multiple sales in recent years on platforms like Bring a Trailer for over $600,000. The lie that was supposed to keep people away from this car accidentally created one of the most valuable American production vehicles in history. Chevrolet tried to make the L88 invisible. Instead, they made it immortal. We opened this investigation with a question. Why would a buyer pay $1,500 extra for a car with less equipment and the same horsepower as the base model? Now you know the answer. The horsepower number was a cover story. The stripped interior was a filter. The 103 octane requirement was a barrier. Every uncomfortable, impractical, hostile feature of the L88 was an engineered deterrent, designed by the same man who built the car to make sure it ended up in the right hands. 14 of these survive. Each one has a name, a race history, and a paper trail. If this investigation opened a door for you into the world of automotive archaeology, into the cars that manufacturers built and then tried to bury, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. The next case file is already in progress, and this one has a paper trail that goes all the way to a federal regulator's desk. Drop a comment below. If you had $4 million and could own any surviving 1967 L88 Corvette, which one would it be? The Le Mans car, the Sebring winner, or the one-of-one black convertible? I want to know.